Good afternoon, Falcons. I'm recording this video for a couple of reasons. First off, I have quite a bit of remote students, and as such, I get a lot of questions regarding where to find resources, what days we're going to meet, how Google Classroom is going to work, not to mention all of the concerns that have recently been an issue regarding schedules and schedule changes. As such, I thought it would be a good idea to record a video that kind of shows you what to look for on your screen when you are logging in each day that we do meet. I'd like to go over the even and odd schedule to make sure that you understand when you have a specific class, as well as hoping to address any concerns that you may have that I've been getting emails about. And I've been doing my best, hopefully, in your opinion, I've been doing my best in replying to emails. If I have left anyone off or missed an email from someone, please understand it's not my intention to not respond to anyone. And I promise I am trying to make sure that I address all the ones that I do get. It's been a little bit overwhelming, if I'm gonna be honest with you. And as such, I'm spending a lot of time going through these different messages and trying to make sure that everyone feels, first off, like they're being heard. But secondly, that they actually are getting answers to the questions and concerns that they have. My goal, as I tell my students all the time, is to help you be successful. And if you're a student watching this or a parent watching this, please know that that is my goal. My goal is to help you be successful. And if that's just as simply as navigating through this remote process or in biology in general, then hopefully that together we can reach that goal of success. Now, that being said, I'm gonna try to share my screen with you and just kind of walk you through some of the things that I think will hopefully clear up some confusion or clear up any of the issues that you may have had either at the beginning of school or even currently. And then, barring any significant changes to schedules over the next couple of weeks, which I'm hoping we don't have, but you never know. Hopefully I'll address all the concerns that you have regarding what time you should be meeting with me, and especially for my students that have a time on their schedule that doesn't coincide with the time that I'm available. So I know that that's been a little bit of a concern as well. So without further ado, let's get started. And I do apologize if I stop looking at the camera. I've been working on not staring at my screen and staring at the camera as often as I can. So apologies if I start looking away for some reason. But I also need to check my notes because I don't want to forget anything. All right, so here we go. If I share my screen with you, hopefully this will work. There we go. The first thing I want to go over is our even and odd schedule. So hopefully you can see this. What you'll notice is that for our calendar here, we have days that are colored green and days that are colored blue, amongst a few other colors that designate holidays and teacher work days. Now, that being said, all of our greens have an E, all of our blues have an O, and that is going to indicate which days are even and which days are odd. On even days, students will attend first period because first period is every day. Then they'll attend second period, followed by fourth, then sixth, then eighth period. Now, eighth period is another class that will meet every day. So your student will always start with the same class and end with the same class every day. First and eighth are every day. Now, on an odd day, they'll start with first period, then they'll go to third period, followed by fifth, then seventh, and then once again, they'll finish with their eighth period. Now, as far as lunches are concerned, lunches are always going to be tied to your fourth or your fifth period class. So you'll have to check and see your fourth and fifth period teacher to determine which lunch time you have, whether it's first, second, third, or fourth lunch. Now, that being said, all of my students who have me for fourth period, because I do not have a remote fifth period, but my fourth period remote students have first lunch, which starts at 11:10 and will end at 11:40. Our class begins at 11:45. Now, if that changes, then obviously I will send out a notification letting you know that our lunch time has changed, and that would mean that our class time has also changed. Now, aside from that, you can see any of our student holidays are listed here as well, as far as early dismissal days or half days, and you can go through that calendar and see what it's like. I've downloaded this, and I will be sending it out in an email to hopefully give you guys a nice frame of reference for what day is even, which day is odd, and what classes you should be attending. I've had students try to join a fourth period Zoom on an odd day and then question why I didn't show up, and it's because it was an odd day. And I don't want to ever have anyone feeling like they're kind of just waiting for me and I've abandoned them. So hopefully this takes care of some of those issues, is knowing what our schedule is for even and odds. It's new this year, and it's definitely new for our freshmen because they came from a middle school that didn't alternate class days, we had the same classes every day, each period. So this has definitely been an adjustment for them. And once again, being honest, it's an adjustment for me. I came from middle school as well. This is my first year at Timber Creek in the high school. And so I'm having to get used to which day am I seeing which particular set of students. Now, moving on from that, one of the main resources for my remote students is going to be Google Classroom. And in the interest of confidentiality, I created a sample class so that no one's names get revealed to anyone that's watching the video. So our class doesn't actually look like this. I've got a different biology theme. I think it's green. This is my sample, so a little bit different. But a few things I want to point out. Once again, I am having to check my notes to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out, is the stream. So when you go into Google Classroom, and if you're not a member of one of our Google Classrooms, I will go over which one you should be in if you're a remote student. I do have 3 options. There's a class code that's required to join the class. I usually just copy the link and I email that to students that ask me to put them in my class. I can't actually place a student in the class. They have to join it. All I can do is invite them. So I either invite you by sending you an email with the link in there, or I reply to the email that was sent to me regarding Google Classroom with the link and or the code. Now, if you're already on Google Classroom and you're just trying to join a specific class, you only need the code. I try to send both just in case. Once you've joined the class and you go to the main page, now mine may look a little different since I'm the teacher here, but all Google Classroom classes are going to have what we call the stream. And this is where announcements are going to take place. Now I can come in here and create an announcement like I just did down here at the bottom. It says, this is where you will find notifications from me, posted assignments, and Zoom links. In the event that our Zoom link has to change, it would change the passcode as well. I will always send out an email, but I'll also post it into our stream because students have been hopefully getting used to checking Google Classroom for any updates. Now, what you'll also notice is that 2 assignments have been posted here as well. And I put 2 of them in here as a sample because I want to show you the difference between 2 different types of assignments that may come up and hopefully put some parents at ease regarding missing assignments or work that was turned in late. So if we go up to our Classroom tab, and under Classroom tab, you're going to notice that I have 2 different topics that I've created. One for biomolecules, which is a unit that we are currently wrapping up. We do have a test coming up as well. But under biomolecules, you're going to notice what I've called, sorry about that, motion sensors. You know what, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it in the video because sometimes that happens during a Zoom as well. And I got to start moving so the lights don't turn off. All right, so under biomolecules, you're going to notice it says sample notes assignment. Now under that, when I click on it, it's going to show me as the teacher how many people have been assigned this particular lesson or assignment, as well as how many people have already turned it in. Now, the students, when they view the assignment, what they're going to see looks like this. And so they'll see that there's a due date. They'll see when it was posted. There'll probably be some directions that are posted here as well regarding what order I'd like them to do things. You'll notice that I've attached a video for my remote students. Some days I'm teaching via Zoom and going through content with them. Some days it'll be a video of either myself as I get more comfortable with recording videos or videos that I'm using in my classroom with my students as well. So here we have an introductory video to enzymes. They would watch the video, I'd put that in the instructions. Then they would have some information that I would provide for them via PowerPoint. Sometimes it'll be a Google slide that I will share with them. In this case, it was a PowerPoint over enzymes. And the instructions would indicate that they should take this information and put it in their digital interactive notebook that they've created. If they chose to create one, I gave students the option. If they're keeping a regular journal, like a spiral, then it was to go through the PowerPoint and pull the key pieces of information from it and add it to their notes so that they have the information handy in the event of any technical issues that would prevent them from accessing this information. Now, barring any technical issues, this information is going to stay here. So at any point that they need to reference enzyme notes, they're going to be here. I tell them to make a backup copy or save it to their own files, just in case there's any issues with Google Classroom. It's always good to have a backup. Now, that being said, I'm catching myself. I'm watching the screen and I'm not looking at the camera. But that being said, you'll notice it has a due date. Now, this due date, September 22nd, is typically going to tie in with when we move on to the next lesson or when we take our assessment. So anytime I ask students to go through what I would call a notes assignment, more than likely they're going to go through some type of presentation. I may or may not provide them with an outline for the notes to kind of help them know what's the important information there, or to watch the video. And once they've recorded all the information, the due date is really about make sure you have it done by that date, because on that date, we're probably going to be talking more about it. We're going to go a little bit more in depth, or I'm going to provide you with some work that it would be good if you had the background knowledge if you're trying to be successful with that work. So that being said, one other thing that you're going to notice is there's nothing on here that indicates that there are points attached to this assignment. So the reason for that is this would not be for a grade. The sample notes assignment, if it's notes, it's probably not going to be for a grade. Sometimes I'll send video demonstrations of labs that we may be doing. Those are for the experience and also not necessarily for a grade. So because it has a due date, that's just based on time management. I'd like you to have it done by then so that you're prepared for what we do on that day, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a grade tied to this. So if it's late, there's no point deduction. Now, if you saw anything up here, probably in this corner that said 100 points, that would be a graded assignment. So to give you an example of that, I can go back to our classwork section. Here we have a test and quiz section with a sample assessment. You'll notice when I view the assignment and look at the instructions, very similar to the one that we just saw. We have a due date. This is a sample review sheet that would be for a grade. I don't typically do review sheets for a grade. However, for the sake of the example, this one's for a grade, and you'll notice here at the top, it says 100 points. So this one's a little bit different. The due date is going to determine whether or not they get full credit for the assignment, or whether or not I have to follow Keller ISD's policy regarding point deductions for late assignments. Now, as I tell my students, I'm a very reasonable person. If there is a significant concern about the due date, or if there's any issues regarding students' ability to get work done in a specific amount of time, just communicate that with me, and I will make sure not to take points off and to provide whatever support I can to help the student stay caught up before we move on to the next unit or before we move on to the assessment. Okay. Now, at any point during an assignment, any work that I've posted, whether it's notes or an actual graded assignment, or maybe I've only posted material in the form of presentation or video, students can go on to that specific assignment and under class comments, type comments that I will get notified of. They can do that to the class in general if they'd like to ask other students for help, or they can send me a private message through Google Classroom asking a specific question that is only relevant to them without involving the rest of the class. So at any time, students can communicate with me regarding specific assignments, and it will notify me via email that a student had a concern regarding this specific assignment because they put a comment there. The other thing they can do is if they go just to our main page, is they can share something with the class as well using the stream. Or once again, they can send me a private message through the stream, notifying me of a concern. So that's Google Classroom. Now, a couple things I want to point out in regards to which Google Classroom are you a part of. And for that, I am going to go to my actual class page so you can see what I have available. Now you'll notice that I have Google Classroom set up for each of my class periods. Now there's one here called 0 period Biology Pre-AP. It also says remote. My 0 period Biology Pre-AP remote class is for any student that has me remotely for periods 3, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Now, 3rd and 5th period, I have in-person students. One of those is an on-level class, not pre-AP. The other is pre-AP, and it's a full class. 6th period is technically my conference period, and 7th period is my planning period with my department. 8th period, I also have an in-person class with on-level students, not pre-AP. Because of all the schedule changes, what I decided to do was to take all the students that did not have me for a scheduled remote time, which would be 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th period, and put them all into one classroom. That's why I called it 0 period. Now, the reason for that is those were students who were experiencing the most amount of schedule changes. So if a student was in my 3rd period, but then was moved to my 5th, or they were in my 5th and they got moved to 6th and then got moved to 3rd, it really didn't matter because anyone in 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th was already going to be part of 0 period anyway. So this is a collection of all my remote students that don't have me scheduled remotely at a specific time that actually matches my real schedule. Now, 1st period is also a remote class, but I am scheduled to be remote during that period, as well as 4th period. You'll notice it says remote as well. Students in my first period remote or my fourth period remote, I don't have in-person students at that time, so they should be seeing me first period at 8:30 every day, because first period gets seen every day. Fourth period students, however, will only see me on even days at 11:45, because we have first lunch starting at 11:10. Any student that has moved from first period to third, fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth should move to my 0 period class, because that's where all the 0 period remote students are going to be. And that's where I'm going to post Zoom links as well in the stream for when we meet. Now, any student that had me for fourth period that moved to first, I do have a scheduled time for them, but I would also need to move them to that period in Google Classroom. The problem for me is I can't move students from one class to another. What I have to do is remove a student from a class, and then that student has to join the new class. So I will be sending out emails to make sure that people understand when they get a schedule change that they also need to join a new Google Classroom. And it definitely helps me when a student notifies me of those schedule changes prior to me getting to school, because I don't always know when those schedule changes occur until I look at my rosters. And up to this point, I've been printing out rosters every day because schedules have been changing so much. I think we're getting near the end, so hopefully all of this will settle down in just a bit. Now, aside from that, with regards to Zoom, first period, like I said, I see every day. So at 8:30 every morning, students should be logging in, if you're part of my first period remote class, to Zoom. Now, videos don't need to be on. In fact, I recommend that they stay off because it helps with lag. However, on occasion, when students want to participate, they're more than welcome to turn on their video or unmute themselves. I've had no issues with any students in a remote class, and for that, I am truly grateful. And that is definitely a reflection on the students as well as you, the parents and guardians that may be watching this as well. So I really appreciate how easy things have been going for us when we are Zooming. No concerns whatsoever at this point. So definitely appreciate that, and it has been noticed. So first period sees me every morning at 8:30, and the Zoom link should stay pretty consistent. I try to plan it out about a month at a time, and it says every day, although we won't Zoom on Saturdays and Sundays, only during the school week. Some of those meetings will involve me teaching, just like I am talking to you right now, either following a presentation or going over notes that I've asked them to access while I talk through them, and provide them opportunities to ask questions. Some days there will be a video that they'll need to watch, and there'll be some work they need to do. And just like a normal class, there may be days that we're just working on an assignment without instruction. On those days, students don't have to be on the Zoom for the entire time. I will stay available for students to come back and ask me questions while they're working. But usually I let students know that this would be a good time, if you understand what you need to do, to go ahead and log out, go work on your assignment, but come back if you have any questions, because I'll stay available during the time that I am scheduled to be with them. There go my lights again. So fourth period only sees me on even days. So some weeks I will see fourth period 3 times if we start on an even day, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However, the week after that, since we ended the week on an even day, we'll start the new week on an odd day. And so for those weeks, I'll only see them twice. I'll see evens on Tuesday, Thursday. So it will alternate. Now, this works regardless of days off. So at any point that we have a holiday and we don't attend school for the entire week, whatever day we ended on, even or odd, we will start with the other one. So when we had a short week, we ended on even, we started with odd. This week, we started on an even day. So that means we ended Friday even, which means we'll start Monday on an odd day. So it will alternate. And like I said, feel free to reference the calendar that I send out to everyone soon. So I see them 2, maybe 3 times a week, depending on what week it is. And like I said, they sign in at 11:45 because lunch is technically scheduled from 11:10 to 11:40. And so we'll do the same thing. Now, the difference here is first period, I only have for about 45 minutes. Fourth period, I'm scheduled to have for an hour and a half. Because we only meet every other day, it's double the class time. We won't always need that much time via Zoom based on what we're doing. So if I'm providing instruction, I may take only half of that time and then provide the students with the other half for questions or concerns that I can address while they're with me, or for them to go ahead and log out and go work on any notes or assignments I've asked them to complete. Once again, I stay available in case they need to come back and ask for help, which so far seems to be working well. Now, my 0 period group, these are the students that are scheduled for 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So this one's where it gets a little weird. Now, based on the direction from my admin, here's what I have available. In the mornings, I have to cover one of the main entrances to make sure students come, with a mask, they get their temperature checks, they're filling out their screeners. So right now, my mornings are booked. I can't offer morning Zoom opportunities for my remote learners. However, I am allowed to use some of my conference time as well as some of my planning time. My conference is 6th period, my planning is 7th. So on even and odd days at the same time, about 1:40, I have availability for students to come and Zoom with me so that I can provide them the resources they need for the week or for that day and answer any questions they may have. Now, this works out really well for students that are scheduled for 6th and 7th period, because on the day that I offer a Zoom during 6th period, your schedule, if you're 6th period, is open for biology. In fact, that's what it says, biology 6th period, even though I don't actually have a class. So that is probably the most ideal time for you to meet with me. If you're scheduled for 7th period and I'm not meeting with my department, I will offer a Zoom at that time as well. And that should be a little bit more convenient for students who have me scheduled for 7th period. I will try to offer at least one even and one odd day to help that specific group of students out, those that have me for 6th and those that have me for 7th. Sadly, I can't really offer the same thing for anyone in 3rd, 5th, or 8th. However, if you have time during 6th or 7th period when I'm Zooming with remote students and you are scheduled for 3rd, 5th, or 8th, then that would be a good time for you to come and join me. If you're just working on an assignment for another class and you don't need to Zoom with them during 6th or 7th period, then jump onto that Zoom and I can provide you with what you need. Now, the other option, and I can't do this every day as well because of meetings that I may have, is after school. So after school, that is open to anyone who was unable to meet with me during 6th or 7th period on the days that I was available. I know this doesn't work for everyone. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that I understand that if you have a class and you're unable to attend 6th or 7th period when it's available, or you have a commitment after school, maybe you're a hybrid student, you've got athletics, or you've got theater or band or choir, or maybe you have activities outside of school that you have to do after school, then I understand that you're not able to come and see me. I want to be clear. I will not be marking students absent who are unable to attend a Zoom with me because of a schedule conflict. That's not your fault. So I'm not going to hold that against you, and I've been directed not to. So don't worry about me marking you absent if you can't show up to a Zoom because of a schedule conflict. But keep in mind, that does limit the amount of interaction I'm going to have with you, or if a parent's watching this, with your student. That being said, communication is going to be very important via email or even Google Classroom. So any day that I provide a Zoom that you're not able to attend, my best recommendation is to go to Google Classroom and check and see. So you pop into 0th period biology here, and you'll see all of the dates that I have posted information for people. So any day that you didn't show up because of a schedule conflict, didn't mark you absent, because I know you have a schedule issue, but come to Google Classroom and check to see, did he add anything that I need? Were there instructions posted for the assignment? And if I have any questions, well, that's the time to go ahead and send me an email. Sending me an email or messaging me through Google Classroom is going to be the best way for you to keep up with what we're doing. Now, my goal, now that I've got this set up, is to start recording my own lessons and providing those types of resources. In the meantime, until I get this squared away just right, I will be providing links to other videos that could provide you with the support that you need to go through the content. And although I do know, and I can appreciate your concerns regarding how much support you're going to get from me because we can't meet face-to-face or via Zoom, my goal has not changed in regards to you being successful. So any concerns that you have, please bring them to me. Any suggestions that you have, because students have provided me with suggestions on things that I could do to help them out remotely that I've taken into consideration. A few of them I've implemented. I had colleagues that recommended that I do things like this, like recording videos. So I am trying to kind of grow through this process in a way that's very intentional so that I can provide you with what you need to feel like you're getting all the tools necessary to not just get the grade you want, but to really feel like you learned the content this year as you prepare for any assessments that we have either throughout each quarter or at the end of the year when we take our EOC. But more than that, if your goal is to take AP Biology, which may be why you're taking pre-AP Biology, to make sure that you're prepared for that as well. And I work right alongside the AP biology teacher as well to make sure that I'm targeting my lessons and activities towards that goal in mind. Now, aside from that, the only thing that I really want to make sure that you guys know is I definitely understand where you're coming from. I have children. My son's a freshman, my daughter's a senior this year, and I know the difficulty of the schedule concerns. Both of my students had schedule concerns as well that took some time to fix. I want you to know that this school has a lot of people that are working very hard to kind of put things in a way that are easy for everyone. But in the event that they have missed you, in the event that you still have an issue with your schedule, in the event that you have a concern regarding how your student or you as the student are going to make it through this quarter or through this semester or through this year, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am very diligent in checking my emails. I think I've only missed a couple, and for those people, I've already apologized, and I will continue to apologize for any that I do miss. But reach out, send me a message, shoot me an email, and let me know what your concerns are. I would ask, though, for a little bit of patience, as I typically get quite a bit of emails, especially right now with my remote learners sending me assignments. So I try to kind of get through most of them in an evening, and I try to not wait more than about 24 hours to respond to people. But also, if you email me really late at night, I'm probably not going to email you late at night. You'll have to wait until the next day. But more than that, there are a few things I can't do. I can't change your schedule. They don't really give us that level of authority. And you wouldn't want us to do that, because then I could pick and choose my students, which doesn't seem right. So they don't let us pick and choose our students. I can't change your schedule. So if you have a schedule issue or concern, please contact the counselors, contact the administration. I've spoken with Ms. Summerholder, and she has assured me that if you have any concerns beyond my scope, beyond my level, reach out to her, and she'll make sure that she can get you in contact with the people that are able to do whatever it is that you need to feel like you have a schedule that makes sense, and more importantly, to feel like you've been heard. And I want you to know that I do see you and I do hear you, and as much as I can, I'm here to help you be successful in whatever way possible, not just biology. But I am excited to be here. I know some of you from Trinity Springs, and it's been a pleasure to get to see people again, including former students. So I'm excited for this year. As much as we've been working, as hard as it's been to start off this year, I feel like we're finally coming into a little bit of a routine. And for what it's worth, I am glad to be here. And I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm here for you. And if you need anything, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much. If you have anything that you need or I didn't address, please tell me. And I would also say be on the lookout for any future videos. Thank you.